Have you ever seen a ghost in your own home? Not the kind that rattles chains, but the kind that wears your wife's face and sleeps in your bed? I saw one the night I noticed the faint. Purplish bruises on her inner thighs marks, hidden from the world, but not from a husband. When I asked her, my voice barely a whisper across the expensive sheets of our Chicago high-rise bedroom. Her smile didn't just falter, it vanished. The silence that followed was louder than any confession. She simply turned her back to me, the curve of her spine a wall I suddenly knew I could never climb again. That was the moment I realized the woman I loved was a stranger, and her body was a crime scene I was just beginning to investigate. For 10 years, Sarah was my everything. We built a life against the glittering backdrop of downtown Chicago. From a tiny apartment on Clark Street to a penthouse overlooking Millennium Park, I was a software architect. She was a rising star in corporate PR. Our life was a curated collection of successes. Gallery openings, reservations at Alinea, weekend trips to Lake Geneva. It was perfect. Too perfect. The first crack appeared not as a bang, but as a vibration, the subtle, incessant buzz of her phone. Always screened down on the nightstand. It started with late-night work emergencies and hushed calls she'd take on the balcony. The chilly Lake Michigan breeze swallowing her words. Then came the receipts I'd find in her coat pockets for dinners at Gibson S Bar, and steakhouse on a night she claimed she was working late for a room at the Langham I knew nothing about. She became a master of deflection, a magician of manipulation. "You're being paranoid, honey," she'd say, her voice dripping with a condescending sweetness that made my skin crawl. "Don't you trust me?" She wielded my trust like a weapon against me, making me feel small and foolish. Her and him, her boss Mark, a man who oozed a smug entitlement that always rubbed me the wrong way, they felt untouchable, laughing in boardrooms and sharing secrets over cocktails while I was at home, watering the plants in a life that was starting to feel like a stage set. The breakdown happened on a Tuesday. I found a credit card statement for a jewelry store on Michigan Avenue, a diamond tennis bracelet. Not for me, not for her mother. It was my breaking point. I sat on the floor of our walk-in closet, surrounded by her expensive shoes and designer bags, and I shattered. The sobs were silent, racking my body with a grief so profound it felt like a physical death. The man who loved his wife died on that floor. In his place, something cold and methodical was born. My grief hardened into a quiet, calculated rage. The first step was a visit to a discreet private investigator. The second was opening a new bank account. While Sarah was out for another late night at the office, I was meticulously documenting everything. I photographed every suspicious text, downloaded every bank statement, and logged every lie into a password-protected file. The pie delivered a manila envelope, overflowing with my worst fears, realized and glossy. 8x10s, Sarah and Mark mouths locked, leaving the Langham. Their hands intertwined across a table at a dimly lit bar. His car parked overnight in our building's guest garage. The evidence was a stake through my heart, but it was also my salvation. I hired the most ruthless divorce attorney in Cook County. We planned the ambush with the precision of a military strike. The trap was set for the annual company gala. It's the very event where Sarah and Mark would be celebrating their latest corporate victory, a victory built on my wife's duplicity. The night of the gala, I played the part of the doting husband. I complimented her dress, a shimmering silver gown that cost more than my first car. I held her hand as we walked into the grand ballroom of the Palmer House Hilton, the air thick with champagne and self-congratulation. She and Mark were inseparable, basking in the glow of their success. During the CEO's speech, as he praised Mark's division and specifically thanked Sarah for her tireless dedication, my attorney, as planned, stepped onto the stage. He calmly took the microphone. "Pardon the interruption," he began, his voice cutting through the applause. "But there's a legal matter that needs addressing." He proceeded to announce the filing of my divorce petition on grounds of adultery, citing Mark by name. Then the projector screen behind him, which had been showing corporate logos, switched to a slideshow. The first image was a high-resolution photo of Sarah and Mark kissing outside the hotel. The room fell into a stunned, deafening silence. The slideshow continued, a brutal, undeniable narrative of their affair. Each photo a nail in their professional and social coffins. Sarah's face was a mask of horror, her skin ashen. Mark looked like a cornered animal. The CEO's face was thunderous. They were ruined, publicly and spectacularly. I didn't stay to watch the fallout. I simply turned and walked out of the ballroom, leaving the wreckage of our life behind me. The divorce was swift. The prenup I'd insisted on, and she'd laughed at, held firm. She got nothing. Mark was fired, his career destroyed. The last I heard, she was living in a small apartment in the suburbs, working a low-level admin job. Sometimes, late at night, I stand on my balcony and look out at the city lights, the same view we once shared. The silence is different now. It's not the suffocating silence of betrayal, but the clean, cold silence of emptiness. I won, but all I have to show for it is a ghost-free home. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows.